So thank you, Shirel. So our presentation of today is about the book that with zero, getting all you can from your money by Bill Perkins. So the first screen, I just put the book in one of my favorite places. Hamilton Pool is in the hill country here in Texas. So just to show, part of what the guy is saying in the bill is talking about in the book, how to maximize your life experience and thrive in your finance. This book was published in July 2020. Next slide, please. And this slide is just to show everyone, uh, just a swimming pool when you have mom, dad, kid. And if you look, maybe it's more mom than dad, right? And this book is calling us to spend time with family, have good time, not chase too much money, to have a balanced life. So I put that picture to just remind everyone that life is not only work, but also a good time. So next slide. On the next slide here, you have the author bill, and you see here, here is Miss Race, as you can see. Usually we don't talk about that one here, but it's important in the context. His real name is William Osborne Perkins. That's his real name. He's a hedge fund manager. And I would like at the end if Nasif can take 1 or 2 minutes to explain a little bit to us what a hedge fund people do. Because we know what the fund people manager do, we can understand a little bit the book because it's some of the concepts in the book are very controversial. But then we know where he's talking from, then we can better understand him. So I put the note here. He say he's not a role model for anyone. That's what he's saying. His YouTube interview, and he's asking everyone to, take opportunity of life to take enough risk to not regret our life. He himself takes maximum risk, as he say. He has no rainy day fund, no rainy day option, and he doesn't care too much about safety financially. He doesn't care too much about that because his mom was a teacher, and all the mom want for him was to, work for the government and have a secure job and live forever until you retire. But it's not his dream, and he never did. He ended up being part of the people who bet against Aaron here in Texas, and when Aaron failed, right? So, and he advised one to look at its own call because not everyone can be entrepreneur. Next slide, Shire. So the core principle in the book, he's calling people to prioritize experiences over accumulation, to use money as a tool, and to always remember that time is not infinite. We have a limited time here on earth. So asking us to recognize that our time and health are limited and to not postpone joyful experience until too late to fulfill enjoying them. So next slide. I need to follow here. And in the book, throughout the book, he's asking for strategic spending and planning to not just spend randomly. Instead, he's asking us to plan through the stage of our life, right? When you are like, first you're a teenager, you get to the 20 something, 30, 40, 50, and also our health change over time, and we need to be aware of that also to know when to enjoy life, to not wait until it's too late, right? We try to work and save our golden years, and he is against the fact that we call after retirement as golden year. For him is when you are young, when you are vivid, you can move and do stuff, go to places, try stuff. That's where the golden years for him, not when you reach 60, 65, and you're just good for doctor appointment and other stuff. So he calling for us to plan through life, to not think about just accumulating, and also to give when we're still alive, to not leave stuff behind that's gonna be distributed when we're no longer here. Instead, he's calling for consider give money to loved one to charity in life when you're still alive and you can see, what they're gonna do with it. And next slide. So I have to okay. Now, some of if you follow me until now, his talking point is spend as as much money as possible. That's the way he's thinking, right? To not save too much, just not think about okay, my golden year, how to save. No, for him, you get to spend, and then you have a lifetime earning possibility, and more money gonna come. Uh, that's what he's thinking. And this book is like the opposite of so many things that we read or listened to here. Now, some of the key takeaway from the book, he look like he say, to spend your life energy wisely. He called money the life energy because most of the time we spend time to get the money, right? We spend energy to get the money. And now, what is used for if you just work and save, but you never spend it and you don't know when to really spend it. So that's why he call it life energy. And then to say to optimize, don't over save, and that also, you have to take it. But I'm presenting the summary of the book, so later I will give you my own opinion. So he's saying while saving for security is important, avoid excessive frugality that prevents you from enjoying the present moment and experiencing life to the fullest. And then the other concept is the time bucket your life. Divide your life into period. I think I said earlier, in period, and identify the experience you want to have during each stage, helping you prioritize and plan for them. On next slide. Invest in experience. At the end, I put together a list of like 10 type of experience that I'm gonna share quickly if we have a time. So he said to prioritize experience over material possession, as experience create memory and contribute to a richer life story. And if I just want to stay with a little bit here, when people are sick or older and they are on the deathbed, they don't remember how much money they have in the bank account, right? They remember the places they've been to, the thing that happened to them, or they regret also the thing that they never tried. So this guy is calling us to try. He said, give early, not just later. And speaking of donation or when people pass and estate change hand, most of the time, hmm? No, I'm not reading. So most of the time throughout the book, he say the majority people get whatever the parent left to them around 60 years when they are 60-year old. And 60 years is not your golden age anymore, right? So if you plan to leave an inheritance or donate to charity, consider doing so during your lifetime to maximize the impact and your personal achievement. Because when you get the money at 60 or 65, you're almost to the age of that you have to pass it on the next generation, right? You won't do so crazy thing as a young person. And here he said health is your greatest asset. Your ability to enjoy experience depends heavily on your health. Everyone know that. Prioritize your well-being and plan your activity accordingly. On next slide. Oh, hold on, your thing didn't work. How you get to the next slide here? Okay, let me go here. Okay, so just commenting a little bit the book. He has a compelling case, but still, uh, when you're reading or listening to him, you might ask yourself who might benefit from this, right? And those are individuals who have already built sustainable or substantial saving and tend to be overly frugal despite having more than enough wealth. This book is also for those who are prone to delaying gratification and by missing out on valuable life experience by perpetually saving for the future. Next slide. So, potential drawback and criticism. First, the advice he provided in the book may not be realistic for individuals who are struggling to save for retirement or have significant financial challenges. When it comes to longevity risks, outliving one's saving is a real concern, and die with zero approach need to be carefully planned to avoid financial distress in later years. Annuity are one suggested tool to address this, but they come with their own complexity and costs. Next slide. Continue the drawback also overspending, all of the book, our education, everything that we hear until now is don't spend more than what you can afford, right? Or sometimes they say save 10% first before you spend. Other financial advisor will say save 30%, but this guy is saying to spend everything, so we have to be cautious, right? He said the emphasis on spending could lead some individual to be financially irresponsible. And also, when it comes to estate planning, completely depleting one's asset can have implications for inheritance and potential create difficulty for a surviving spouse, right? If you are doing what he's advising, what gonna happen to your loved one when you're no longer here, to your spouse, especially because he has to just spend, and it's not the common wisdom. And we've never been told that, but this is the new. Oh, we are learning this now. So I just gonna let you read through this, some of this adventure that he proposed throughout the book. I won't go through them, right? Like going to wedding anniversary, family reunion, hiking trips, so like something that you like to do, and you postponing, and you know that when you get to 50, 60, you're never going to be able to do it, right? If your goal is to travel to Australia, when you reach some age, taking the airplane for 18 hours and stuff like that won't happen. So you get a chance to go through some of the experience he offered to try here. Probably we are doing some already, but he asking us to do more to not have too many regrets. So going to the last slide, should I?
Slide.
Last slide. Okay.
Yeah, I'll let people read throughout that one. So, a conclusion for this book, Die with Zero, uh, the philosophy is a philosophy that encourage a more intentional and fulfilling approach to life and money, Empha- emphasizing the importance of creating lasting memory and experiences now rather than indefinitely postponing enjoyment. While it offers valuable insights for those who may be oversaving and underliving, it's crucial to tailor the philosophy to your individual circumstances and financial situation, avoiding extreme that could lead to financial insecurity in the future. And that's the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Sir Camilo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Shura, you have the floor.
Okay. Okay. Um, so the presentation's concluded. So we'll now hand over the floor to anyone who wants to speak. So who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. First of all, thank you so much, Thomas, for this presentation. I think I some of the points or most of the points really that I I was thinking of you have already covered in this presentation. I can only maybe add one or two points. Um, I think just reading the book that maybe the principles that are presented in this book, it can also be contextually sensitive. What I mean by that is the context may differ, for instance, from culture to culture or from country to country, um, because of the different social dynamics in different places. I'm saying this, for instance, here in the United States, there is no social net for people who are aged. The social net is very weak, and health costs are very high. And then people, I think, they worry about the amount of savings they have for the future, and they do so. I think it's fair that they do so because, as I say, it's very expensive and it's a reality. For instance, there's a lot of bankruptcies that happen every day just because people had spent on health issues. So, if you were to go to some of the advanced countries like in Europe and the UK, the situation is quite different because the government takes care of the aged people and they're fully covered and they never have to worry about being sick and losing their house or pretty much being on the street because they fell sick. That's a different context completely. And maybe when you present this book to such geographies, then the message is different than when you present it here. I'm also thinking of if I was in Africa, we have a different context. For instance, most of the people in Africa, when they are young, they move to the city, they work there, they live there, and but when they grow older, they retire and they go back to the village. They have a nice, better house in the village, but the cost of living in the village is different. It's very low compared to living in the city. And that for I think for most Africans is the safety net for them, which is impractical here. If you live in the US, wherever you are, that's home, and there is no other place you can move to, um, just for the simplicity of life elsewhere. So I think I was looking at those, and that's what I was thinking about, that maybe there are other contexts that have not come out in the book. But all in all, really, the fact that the drawbacks are very clear makes a lot of sense. But the ideas that are put forward are also very good because there's a lot of people who regret later in their years that maybe they have not lived a fully um, lived life. They had not fulfilled their lives fully. And when we read books like this, it reminds us. It's just like a tug somewhere in your heart that says, you know, be serious but also be playful in a way. You need to balance those things out so that when one day you go, you are not regretting. Um, so at the end of the day, really, it's about being able to balance those three um, resources. That's money, health, and time. And it's not an easy thing to balance them, but nevertheless, we need to. Um, because health is important, money is important and time is important. And you can run out of health, you can run out of money, and you can run out of time. So you need to find a fine balance between those three. And I think at the end, let me just say that I agree with the fact that it's very important to give your children a boost when they are starting up in life and saving for the very end when you now pass away and you say, I'm leaving um, inheritance for my children. Just out of experience, I've had people being very thankful of the fact that their parents helped them out when they were just starting up, maybe putting a deposit towards their first house, that kind of thing. But I haven't had many people being grateful that their parents left them an inheritance when they died. Um, and there are two kinds of people that end up with the inheritance. It's either people who are wasteful and they waste it all in a couple of years, there's nothing left, or it's people that have been trained to look after assets and they carry on the legacy of their parents. And there are few such, but there are many that are wasteful. And sometimes leaving that inheritance is not worth it for the ones you are leaving it for. It's maybe not even worth it for you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
George.
Thank you, George.
I want to jump in if you allow
Okay.
me. Yeah. First of all, I had to thank Fred Thomas for his presentation. He was so flexible to find a way to show us the PowerPoint, which is resourceful. And from there, I think the book didn't impress me. Why? Because the fact that he says you gonna die with zero, there are a lot of
Did Arun cut out for anyone?
Yeah.
I can't hear him
You can
anymore.
hear, you can hear, we cannot hear him.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the
Oh
only
wait,
one.
no, he joined again under a different.
Okay.
Let's see if he starts talking.
I was cut off. I'm back. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we
Yeah.
can now.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. So I was saying that the book didn't impress me because maybe it's because we are still in the accumulation phase. Because when you are in the accumulation phase and you start already thinking about how you can spend what you haven't accumulated, I think is a dangerous path. And also the medicine the medicine are improving, and you might try to plan that, oh, I accumulated, now I can spend my 20 years to spend it and then I'll die zero. If it happens that that 20 years is no longer 20 years but is now 40 years, how are you going to survive? If it is now 60 years, how are you going to survive? So all this one we have to take into consideration. He addressed that by saying that you can insure yourself, you can buy annuity, but even with that, I don't know. I don't know. I would prefer to have mini vacation, as Tim Ferriss suggested. So you accumulate, you go to vacation, you come back, you can accumulate more or something like that. And also, he didn't address the fact that if everyone is thinking about like that, there will be a problem of generational wealth. Generational wealth is the fact that if, let's take Walmart, and the first owner, the founder of Walmart say, oh, let me spend everything, by the time that I die everything will be zero. What legacy, what generation wealth he will leave for his family, for his, I mean, even today, if we are counting women who are more rich than anyone, other women, they will count Walmart families. So we had to take into that consideration, saying that okay, you can sacrifice yourself today to leave more money for your children so that they can have more generation wealth. There, there's no one solution fit all, because sometimes when you leave too much money as well and you don't train them, they turn to be, I mean, people who just love to take drugs and others. And Fred Thomas was asking, what does that mean, hedge fund?
Mhm.
Hedge fund is just a fund that people get together to pull, like a pull money together to do things that they don't. Let's say that there are 100 people to get together, and they say we will get and bring 1 million together, 1 million each. So in that moment, they are having 100 millions, and in that way, when they go and negotiate something, they get more good interest, because when you go there with 1 million, or when another person go there with 100 millions, they will not have the same power. So hedge fund is just the person who manage that fund. If you say I'm a hedge fund manager, it's just those who put their money together and he manage them. What's the difference between hedge fund and mutual? Is the fact that hedge fund is more volatile, is more, there are more risk inside. And when we say more risk, it means that when they get more interest as well. In hedge fund, they can say, okay, let's go and buy oil fields. The oil field might give them maybe 60% interest, 60% profit. But if if you are not, they call another thing accredited investor. If you are not accredited investor and you put 1 million there and they say that and come back and say, oh, we buy the field, but we didn't see any oil inside, which means that now is zero. Unless they want to sell the field as a land, they can sell it. But the main objective in that one is zero. How are you going to survive? That's why the hedge fund is more riskier. It's not everyone who is allowed to go in. You have to be accredited investor before they can allow you in. And be accredited investor means that you have to have 1 million's worth, or you make 250 per year, or you are a CPA. If you are CPA or CFA, they feel like, oh, you know what you are doing, so they allow you to go in and they can call as a accredited investor. If someone has a specific question about that, I can go and explain more. Thank you.
Thank you, Nafik. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharo.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So can I go?
Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
All right. First, I want to thank Thomas for the great presentation. I was able to listen to the books in entirety, and I listened to different examples he gave. So I'm like, some of them, I'm like, this is not realistic, right? Or I would not advise someone to do it. For example, the first example where he said his friend with him he used to work, and the friend kind of quit his job and borrow money to go to vacation for 3 months, right? To go to Europe for 3 months. How are you going to borrow money, and that money will be generating interest, and you use the money to just go have experience? Yes, you kind of have, that's a memory bank increase, but you are getting broke. Yeah, for me, that's what it is. I don't think it will take a courage to do something like that, right? To borrow money, you have nothing, but you borrow money to just go have experience because you want to do it while you were young. So that is a question mark for me. But there are some multiple other things that he talks about that I agree with. Is One of them is life is not just work, save, and work, save. You need to take time to enjoy that money, right? And it's I really take on to that. And I used to have a bucket list of things we would do. So since COVID, I stopped that bucket list. But right from this book, I know that I got to go back to the bucket list and start putting stuff in. But we still have to save because the we don't know tomorrow, right? Most of us work for someone, and at any time they can say, "Okay, now your work stop," and you don't want to have problem at that time. You want to survive on something before you find something else. So saving is important, but at the end, he's also saying, um, save and enjoy experience. So we are going to save, we are going to enjoy the experience, and also work on our health so we continue experiencing like exercising and keep that's a healthy way or healthy life so it can last longer, right? So that's a few things um, um, I take away from this book. Um, yeah,
Thank
so that's
you.
just, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I can go quickly. Yeah. Thank you, Expert and Olivia, for the presentation.
Yeah.
A great book. A great book. And to me, is I don't know, but I think I agreed mostly with everything he said. Um, I never thought the way he he was expressing things, but I think it's a very realistic way of thinking about things. You know, when you give while you are alive, you see the happiness on people's face. You see the realization of what it does. I think it brings more happiness to yourself too. Of course, we have to be diligent, and he took his time. He even said that if depending on where you are in life, this may not be for you, or this may be for you, or you may have some work to do to even get there. So he was very realistic. I really appreciate the thing about the memory. We work and all we talk about is saving, but not really what we want to do. Um, with that savings. We are very unrealistic about what we want to do when we are 60, or we don't see the time pass to be able to invest in memories, what really matters. Taking your children to Disneyland, there's a moment for everything. He talked about the experience he had with his children, because there are certain things that you can only do at certain age, and we all want to say, oh, I can do this when I'm in 60. Really, it's not realistic. So the book to me is very, very, it makes sense. It makes sense depending on where you are in life when it comes to finance, and your age and stuff. So I really enjoy the mindset. It brings new perspectives into my thinking, into my life, and how I really want to perceive things. Um, and one of the most important things that he talked about to me is being able to give to your children while you can see the money do some really good important things in their life. So, like when they are trying to buy their first house, when they're trying to they welcome a newborn, or stuff like that. You if he said if you want to give while you are alive. Give, don't wait till you, that is just, it resonates more to me than anything. And, you know, if I can give to my kids and see the importance of that in their life, how happy it makes them. I'd rather do that than to say, oh, I'm putting this in a fun thing, and they don't even get to it till they are in the 60s. So what good is that? He talked about a lot of research out there that people don't even enjoy any inheritance till they are in the 60s, 70s. What good is that? So I think it's a new way of thinking, but it makes sense to me personally. Like he's taking his time to said, let's invest more into memory. It's not about only saving us. He said, spend everything that you have. Doesn't mean that you have to spend what you can allocate to your children or the wealth, or if it is generation, um, family, business. That doesn't mean you have to jump into that. That's a complete different. And he explained it. He said, people who talk all the time that, oh, I want to leave money, or they usually don't do it. And he's gone with a lot of experience with his friends that says that those who really want to give, you give while you can, while you can see it makes the most impact in the peoples that you are giving life. And he talked about his grandma, how he instead of, he could have done something very memorable to the grandma, he gave the grandma money at 60 something. Nothing
Yes.
happened with that, nothing happened with that. So I think the idea is very, it is very concrete to me. And I really appreciate that understanding and the new way of thinking. We never cease to learn, and this is a wonderful perception that I welcome in my life. And I appreciate whomever um, suggested this book. And I thank you all for your input tonight. Thank you.
Thanks to her. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you too.
Can I go next?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, first I want to thank Thomas for a great presentation. And the things I learned from the book are focus on experiences, optimize life stages, time bucketing, personal interest rate, not to oversave, and maximizing enjoyment. And that to die with zero, you had to live a definitive life and leave behind no regrets or loose ends.
Thank you, Bia.
Okay, thank you, Vio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Short and sweet.
Okay,
I love
I
you
guess
so much.
I'll hop in really quickly. I want to thank my dad for the presentation. Thankfully, we were able to get it to work. Um, I just want to say I always like being the ever so slight contrarian. So I guess I'll do that again. Um, First, I want I do like the message that he's giving, especially one for like immigrant communities where it's we save a disproportionate amount compared to the average American, right? And I do think it's good to like acknowledge that money exists to be spent. It's just a question of when are you spending it, right? It always exists to be spent. Money in itself is not what we want. It's everything that money gives access to or helps solve, right? So think about how you want to spend your money, both in the short term and the long term. But I also want to acknowledge the question that my dad had asked at the very beginning, which is like um, about asking about the hedge fund, right? A really important detail about hedge funds, Arun gave a great explanation, but an important detail about hedge funds is in the name, right? They are trying to hedge or beat out the market average returns. That's why they're called hedge fund or hedge fund manager, right? And that's why they pool the money together to try to beat out that market, right? So this individual um, comes from a position where he has a safety net, right? because even if everything goes bad, if you're a hedge fund manager, right, you're probably making out like $1 million a year, right, on the lower end, on the small for a smaller hedge fund, right. So he does give good information, and he does provide like pointing out like, okay, you shouldn't be working every day, every second. We make money to live life, but this is also like he's saying this from a position of comfort where if he completely messes up and bumbles it all, right, he has his safety net, right. So he might not see the small things that we notice, right? Those small looming financial crises, right? So it is good to spend your money. It is good to save your money, but let's all be like pragmatic and not blindly follow the message, right? So that's all I wanted to contribute. Again, I want to thank my dad for the presentation. I want to thank everyone for what they're saying. They're chipping in some really good ideas. So I'll hand over the floor now.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
sir.
Thank you,
Thank
Carol.
you, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you. So
We have to remember that his net worth is 50 million, 50 million.
See?
Yeah,
So
I threw out the 1 million a year just as a guess, but yeah, there we go.
so yeah, if you allow me a few 1 or 2 minutes, yes, I want to comment. I didn't say that one in the presentation because every time we talk about death, it's kind of scary, right? Throughout the book, many times he talk about life expectancy, life experience, expectancy calculator. So I went on the he is on my older note. I don't have it on hand, but I went on, and when I type life expectancy calculator, it take me straight to Social Security Administration. And if you click on it, I can share with you. You click on it, they ask you a few questions, and then they can tell you uh, how long they expect you to live, right? But it doesn't mean you're gonna, how whatever they say is not the truth for you, right? But it's the average for the information you provide the people in that bucket. And he talked also about another life expectancy calculator. That one they ask more questions, and that's the one that the insurance and the actuary people use to sell annuity, to sell life insurance, all of the other product that they sell. So I will send it to you if anyone is interested. I know even though we all know that we're gonna die, but when we talk about death, and death is scary. So I didn't put in the presentation. So that's all I would like to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
So,
Well, this is, may I chip in too?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, everyone. And this is a new concept to me. And I really appreciate Fred Thomas's presentation, the way he presented it, and he went straight to most of the key points that I was having in my notes, which are mainly the experiences, and then he touches all the key points that are in it. That makes it really nice and good summary. Now, like the new generation, I also share the view of this book. To be blunt, I wish I knew this, and I wish I have read a book like this long ago. And it's never too late to me to be aware of the information, but this is to me a very, very good information to have, to understand the limit that we have in everything that we have, and that our life is defined by the key three characteristics or concepts that is health, time, and money. Knowing that health and time could make money, but money will definitely not create time.
mhm.
And with money, you could eventually preserve the health that you have left, but it will not create health either. And at any point in time, you can use your health to create money, but regardless how much money you have, you cannot use that money to create health. You can use it to preserve or to save what is left. So if we understand that concept that we were born and we are limited with time and health, then experience, memory, adventure have to have priority. And we have to be happy to be born from almost nothing, or from poverty, or from areas where we can even have great experiences without that much money. We were born in Africa where we are happy continuously, even with almost nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And with what we have here now, it is already that a lot. If we want to prioritize experience, we want to prioritize adventure, it is a matter of being aware. And that awareness could help us increase happiness in our life. Because at the end of the day, what we call a success, or what we call a, 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 a being able to make it in life, is how much happiness we have, how we have enjoyed, how much happiness we have put in our life throughout the time we spent on this earth. And the amount of year or the number of years do not really matter, but how happy we are is what counts. And that is what I really get from the book. And I could go on and ask myself and anyone, if we really want that concept, dying with zero, if we want it. Dying with zero doesn't mean that we do not do what we are supposed to do. It just means that we decided not to leave that money to somebody else, a management. And it doesn't also mean that we do not leave or share the money ahead of time. It just means that when we share it, do we really see what it has done? Have we experienced it? If we leave it in trust, we leave it as inheritance for our heirs and so on, what do they do with it? If they really make it, do we have that experience? No. So if we really want to make real good use of our resources, we have to do it now and when we are here. So I learned this. I read Warren Buffett's book when he said that they created a group of billionaires or wealthy, and they all vow to die with zero. And I didn't know it was relating to this, but Warren Buffett said that he was sure that his last check would bounce before he died. And many billionaires started signing up to this, and they do have that concept going on where many of them are trying to live to die with nothing at the end. But this guy helped us know how, even with the minimum we could do, getting first, a short-term a life insurance that ensure us that if we have unexpected issues, something will take care of us. Second, long-term care. In case we outlive whatever we plan to have or to live on, we have purchased an insurance that will cover the rest of it instead of depending on Social Security. Okay, that is second. Now, we try to, whatever experience we want to have, let's work for it. Okay, it could cost us 200,000, 300,000. Let's work on it. Or it costs only just 100,000. Let's purchase an annuity for that. It's a risk. We dump that 100,000 or 200,000 in it based upon the annuity company. They say, okay, based upon this, we can pay you 5,000 every year. every month till you die. If you die the following month, you don't even make your first 5,000. But if you live for 100 more years, at least you have the minimum. So the tools are there. With those tools, we can plan our life. And if I do not want to hold this for too long, when I was in college, I was using a vehicle that cost $60,000 when I got back to college. But having worked with Exxon before I went back to college was different. And I had different lifestyle briefly before other things came in, and then I changed everything and even decided to sell the car. I even remember how my daughter was sobbing. She asked me how are her friends going to take her now and so on. That she's going to move from a luxury vehicle and start driving some Nissan or whatever. I said, forget about it. Let's move into savings and so on. I didn't like it today. Haven't read this. I could have done it differently. And we could have lived differently. We have lived differently. Okay. Now I go to the second example. The second one is when I started work with ConocoPhillips. My boss told me, cross that road and go to Porsche, take whichever you wanted, and start driving. You are no longer at this stage. Just tell them that you are in the middle management at ConocoPhillips. You can drive any car that is there. I went. The cheapest they had was $260,000, and they gave me the key to go and use it, and I didn't. They told me just use it and come back later and make a decision. And I just didn't have. I had different concept. You started working, making six figures. You don't have to go into those kind of. There were all sort of different crap that I had. We do not have anything to do with experience. We do not have anything to do with adventure, anything to do with what we really call, memory. And that is gone. And if I shouldn't go too far, we had just a very nice experience through our vacation to Italy. I went to places in my life and spent way more than that, but I never had fun, never, ever in my life for that much fun we had in that short 2 weeks between Europe, Italy, Belgium, and some others went to France. It was so rich. And the guy, part of the book, when I was reading, it was as if he was counting what we did. And he said, whenever we mentioned what we did, we relive the experience. So, guys, this taught me a lot. I have to review my life and then reorganize myself and do better with my life. And then knowing that money in experience, you spend it on friends, family now, see the return matters a lot than what we live in. Even money at bank for these billionaires, it would do better if that money was distributed some way, given to other people to try new experience, new ideas that they have. It will have better effect on the humanity than having it packed at bank. So anyway, I thank so much whoever shared the book. And I thank Fred Thomas again for the presentation, everybody's contribution. But I really, really love it. And it's better now than never. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Can I say something quickly in 30 seconds? I think we already passed over time. So thank you so much, Fred Thomas. Thank you for the great presentation, and thank you everyone for wonderful contributions as well. I would just say the book. I agree with most of the ideas, but I also do not agree with some of them because we should really, as Cheryl said, we have to basically customized whatever idea we're getting from this book into our own life, right? I mean, even if you don't have the money, because the person who wrote the book is is a millionaire or a billionaire, I don't know. We have to customize. You have to like if you're making 1,000 weekly, you can adjust. I mean, don't try to go and do things that billionaire people do when you're making 1,000, right? Try to adjust. If you're making 1,000, do things that 1,000 can afford. Okay, so and a lot of things are out there that you can do with that little amount of money and being happy, right? So customize the idea, adjust and adapt the ideas off of this book into our own life, and most importantly, let's live um, memories, right? Because again, I am sure everyone in this group has already heard these stories where when you have someone around that people are spending all the time working so hard in this country, 10, 15 hours shift every day, and then sending all the money back home, and then building all these big houses back home, and then you don't even make it. You die before even living in that house. So it's just unbelievable when you can actually you see the same people. They are in the United States, they have kids, and they're living in like little apartment. Children are not even happy, the space is too tiny. So it's like you cannot even be happy where you are, but you're basically thinking, projecting something that you cannot control. You don't have any control on that, because tomorrow you can die. They called me few days ago, telling me that we have a friend that we grew up in the neighborhood together who passed. He's like all barely 30 something. We almost, almost the same age range. He passed. I mean, I was like, wow, what happened? The guy was sick and he passed. So you cannot project something that you cannot. I mean, don't try to control something that you cannot control. Live the moment, but at the same time, don't do crazy stuff. Don't go and try to live billionaire life when you're just making thousand, right? Try to adjust and be happy. Live the moment and be happy. Be simple and yeah, that's it. Leave the memory and everything should be fine. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. So, Shira, before you take over, can you go back if you still have the screen to the first screen? Why I put it there? Can you share the first screen again before we close? I know it's 10:06. We start
I had
around
to close the
10:07.
presentation, but let me
Huh?
open it up
You close it?
again.
So
Here it
while
is.
you're
I was
opening that,
zero.
if we remember
Um,
last year, some of the book we read, they talk about goal, objective, experience, and I used to say we need to have around 350. And most of the people, when we reach 65, it's difficult to continue. So if anyone get a chance, go and look at your list and see which one you already complete and which one you still, if you want, you add to it. In this book, even though he talk about money aggressively in different way, one of my personal takeaway that I need to practice is he talk about the doctor who helped about life expectancy. I sent already the two link. If you want to know to check your life expectancy, I sent the two link. So that doctor, one of the key question he has is, do you sleep 7 hour a day? In 24 hours, do you get a chance? That one define greatly how long you're gonna live and how soon you'll die or not. Sleeping 7 hours a day. So from now on, I'll try to have my 7 hour a day from this book, right? I want to go to have experience, but I want to live longer. Now I asked Cyril to put back this slide because the picture right there is Hamilton Pool. Is in the hill country here in Texas. Is a public place. To go there, a car, 4 people, it costs around 34 or $35. So just to say in another word, what Steve was saying is we don't have to have the million. We have to free ourselves a little bit to use the time and go out and enjoy life. That's why I put Hamilton Pool here. It depends on the season of the